Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Welcome back, everyone. Think about this for a second. Your car's driving down the road, and one of your wheels is wobbling a little bit, and it's just not a good ride. You're concerned. One of your tires is out of balance, and the trip, the navigation, is a little bit challenging, and it could even get worse because it's out of balance. It's one analogy. Now, put that one to your life. Is your life out of balance? We are going to talk about that today. It can be a game changer once things are all in balance. How do we do that? These principles, by the way, go back thousands of years, and he's got the insight on it as a healer, intuitive. He is a coach, hypnotherapist. He's also an acupuncturist. He's also a professional of the year. Chris Distefano is back with us. Hey, Chris, how you doing?
Doing great. Thanks. How are you, Steve?
Very well. Very well. And even before we continue, I want to read this news story related to balance that just came out. And I'm going to read it verbatim. There's a new trend of companies posting job listings that specifically say they do not offer any work-life balance and only have a ton of work to be done. No work-life balance. Just, we have a job. We have work. You want it? Come in. We'll hire you. We'll pay you. And that's it. Ouch. Like, I can't even imagine why. Yes, people need jobs. Gotcha there. But why somebody would grab onto something like that when there's no balance of your life? What are your thoughts on that? That's in real time there.
Well, I can use myself as my template. And as a younger man, I didn't have the good balance because sometimes when you're starting out, you're willing to put everything in to get ahead as that down payment. But that's a mindset. The mindset is I have to overdo it in order to gain any ground.
Yep.
When we have the balance, we're coming more from a place of center. We're not exhausting ourselves. We're not spinning our wheels. And that's one very important, because balance goes across the board. There's so many different facets.
I can completely relate with you in a lot of regards. And it was only up until, I don't know, maybe 4 years ago, where I didn't realize that I was out of balance, but I was so focused on work, I was not focusing on the life part. Why was that? There's reasons. I identified them. It goes back to what we talk about, childhood, how you were brought up. Got to work hard. Limiting beliefs, worry that, well, what happens if something happens and you lose a job and the income? How am I going to take care of my family? Blah, 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 blah. All the things that you worry about, but it's coming from, many of us coming from our past, how we were programmed as kids.
So I'm going to say, it sounds like you're another COVID winner. And when about 5 years ago, I went to India. I tended not to have good balance, so I didn't do a whole lot of stuff in terms of going away vacation or whatever. Now, this is before COVID, and I was, depressed and seeking. And I figured my answer was in India, so I went there to see a guy. And I'm staying in Tiruvannamalai, which is a holy area. It's got a lot of temples, gurus, all that stuff. And when I got back, because that's literally, I heard about COVID while I was there. That was the first time I heard about COVID. And when I got back, I said to Magali, she is my office manager, I'm like, we work too much. We have no work-life balance. The people there have very little, but the women are beautifully dressed in their saris. The most authentic smiles I've ever seen in my life are on these people in a dirt village as I go past on my scooter. We are so far out of balance. We need to take a step back. We need to reevaluate. We need to step away from the whole money game and start connecting to ourselves. As she like a few months later, she's like, you did this. Because all of a sudden the world is shut down, everyone's reevaluating, everyone stepped back. And what happened during that time period for me was all of the institutions that I had a degree of faith in, I realized there's only one thing I could build and trust, and that's myself. And that's when I started doing the work. That's when I started working on the balance of work, life, and really what you said with us overdoing it. That's the scarcity mindset that we're programmed into. When the fact is, this is a consciousness model of reality. Every time I say it, I know certain people put their fingers in their ears and go, la, 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 la. But if you've ever had a synchronicity, if you've ever had anything, a coincidence that keeps happening, that's because consciousness steers material. And bringing ourselves into balance, what made me acutely aware of this yesterday, I was thinking about my brother, and he does slacklining and a couple other things. Now, I just tried out wing foil, and I was not as good as I hoped I would be. And I realized part of it is we have different fulcrums. I have different fulcrums in the body that I have to balance and coordinate, and they have to dance together. So the balance is in the body, and in order to balance the body, in order to balance the mind, I need to find my center. I need to know my center.
Wow.
And that is where the true balance comes in every facet of life. What am I? Who am I? And what is it? Because I was visualizing, there's this awesome thing out there. It's a marble it's kind of like an Etch-a-Sketch, but it's like flat. It's a flat plane with sand on it. And there's a marble and there's a magnet underneath. And the marble goes through and draws on the sand. Because that's sort of what we do in life. That core that is us is etching this path through life, through creation, being guided by that magnet underneath that pulls us in that right direction, and creating this tapestry in real time with each other. And the balance part is, because that's a two-dimensional marble on sand type of thing. We're doing it in 3 dimensions, and we're balancing on multiple fulcrums.
I find it interesting how even doing something, call it athletic, you need to find your balance. And it's not, we're not just talking about the equilibrium. We're talking about going to center of us ourselves. I never thought of it in that regard. Side note, the COVID thing, that wasn't the thing that wasn't my catalyst to look at the work-life balance. I get what you're saying, and that was big for many of us. There were other events that led to it. But they weren't COVID connected. Did they happen during COVID? Yeah, okay, yeah. But the other factors were in there that made me realize, all right, gotta make some changes here with call it the work-life balance. What are some other types of balance that we can look at in our lives? We just mentioned.
Oh my God. Best one to look at. First of all, again, I'm talking consciousness model of reality. So even if it wasn't COVID, there's been a huge catalytic energy.
Okay, fair. I get you there. Yeah. Yes.
I'm sorry that if I insinuated
No,
COVID.
no. But you know what? As you just said that, I got a picture in my mind how my change might not have been directly related to the pandemic. However, there were other things going on, and they may have been. So yes, globally here within our lives probably was COVID connected for most of us, maybe all of us.
Yes. So number one, and this again, I was speaking with Magali, and it's great because she's reading this book, and the book is saying a lot of the stuff that I say, but we need to hear things in the way that connects to our heart. And so she's reading the book, and one of the biggest problems that we have is people pleasing. That's pathological. That's an insecurity. That is a conditioning. That's an undervaluing of ourselves, and it never, ever, ever works for either party. A lot of times, what we consider to be nice, kindness and niceness are not the same things. What we consider to be nice becomes enabling, and helps, we're perpetuating a person's pathology because we don't want to cause discomfort. So we take the hit. We operate from a place of inauthenticity. We devalue ourselves, and we also devalue the person that we are people pleasing because we're not trusting them to take those steps forward. So that balance of self and apparent other is one of the first ones we always have to work on. And like anything else, because we have in every case, and this is what got me thinking about that rock, the stone going around the sand. In every case, what we have, and this is something I've hit on pretty hard in my own consciousness, we have the rock, and that's how big the rock is going to be. So the mass of the rock is sort of the importance we put on ourselves in a certain way. We have direction. Where are we headed? Where's our consciousness going? Where are our goals? Where's our heart taking us? So we have, and then we have momentum. So how fast are we moving? Are we accelerating? Are we losing speed? But then and this goes into, multidimensional, but the balance has to come into that to help us to maintain the right path. to maintain the right velocity, to maintain the right mass. Sometimes it's a light touch, and sometimes we need to put more of ourselves into it. And to do it in a way that's authentic. So I keep coming back to this because this is what I hit really hard in a meditation last night. And I was really thinking about it, knowing my center. And that's why I have to get better at this wing foil, because that's a physical connection to my center. My diet has to be, I'm working on making that more balanced. I'm introducing more live food. I have wheat berries sprouting right now and alfalfa, because the live foods help the cells. Like my brother and I simultaneously, there was an article yesterday about how psychedelics help your cells to live longer. And that fits right into how consciousness influences the reality. As our cells are living in this cloud of what we call ourself. And if we're walking around, and we've discussed this, if we're walking around in a crap mood, we're setting crap weather, our cells are not going to be happy. We shift ourselves more and more by letting go of lousy beliefs. Now our cells have sunny skies and they're well nourished. They're going to be more prosperous by our attitude.
Wow. So when we talk about the psychedelics, would you say that that is opening up our consciousness, helping us see life for what it really is, and maybe how to make those adjustments now that you have clarity, and then that translates to the cellular level within our bodies?
It's somewhat like that. Yes, we're able to, because it's through stillness that we're able to drop deeper and deeper into the layers of consciousness. Psychedelics is not an additive process. It's a process of removal of the noise. And that allows an individual psyche to drop deeper. Now, the studies give bio explanations for it. I'm giving consciousness explanation. One does not invalidate the other. And Dr. Andrew Weil cured himself of, I think it was a cat allergy, while on psychedelics, because you're able to get to the deep belief system levels. It's like a deep hypnosis. You're able to get to those deep levels. It's a deep self-hypnosis, and reprogram foundational beliefs that manifest in the physical form. At every cell, every atom, every molecule, every organ. The organ is basically a factory. It's a town. They all do similar jobs in there. That's it. The liver is a bunch of liver cells hanging out, doing what liver cells do. They are a chemistry set. You know, that's more and more I'm connecting to the Chinese medical way of thinking, with the energetic of it taking precedence, and it's so attached to the emotions. And I'm by nature a very, very left brain person that's reprogrammed myself. And a left brain is logical and analytical. So, basically that plus society says, emotions are, especially as a guy, you don't really show them, you don't really feel them, you could just bottle them up. But as the right brain gets more online, and there's a lot of stuff out there on this, emotions are super powerful catalysts to amplifying the energy of thought and intention in terms of manifestation, in terms of health. When we hold on to them, they become pathological. An emotion goes like the wind. When we hold on to it, it stagnates like a swamp. But when we let it flow and we express it freely and authentically, again, this is balance. This is that discernment of who and what am I? And we're operating from the place of us, of me, and not of the place of, I want to tell Steve what he wants to hear. That's why I fight with ChatGPT like the Dickens, because it's a people pleaser. It keeps just telling me what it thinks I want to hear. I'm like, stop just blowing smoke up my backside and be straight. I actually coached a woman the other day, and she's a coach. And she's like, I liked working with you because I'm kind of no nonsense. I'm not going to do all that. Oh, is it okay if I ask you this? Like, I'm not going to be flowery. I'm not going to whatever. And she's like, I trust you right away because the authenticity is there and you're coming right from the heart. So I can open up safely. And I know what you're telling me is authentic.
Isn't it funny that AI is a people pleaser? Never thought of it that way. And even when you you type in a prompt and it delivers some information, what does it fire back? Would you like me to look at it a different way? It's asking you. It's almost like, what can I do else? What else can I do to help you, Chris? Yeah, you just ask me. How about this idea? How about that idea? I never thought of it that way.
And it's a compulsive liar. I asked it to translate a chapter of a book. I asked it to summarize. It gives me something. I'm like, you just left out half of the chapter because I'd already read the chapter. And it's like, oh, so sorry. I'll do it right this time. Boom. fails again. And then it's like, yeah, I'll make you a PDF, sends me garbage. I'm like, if you can't do it, just tell me. Don't have me waiting for 5 days.
Right. Even when it comes to images, because I do a lot of, marketing wise, I'll have a create a video from an image, and you have to wait. Takes a little while, and then it delivers something. It's just like this, sometimes there is value there, but every expert will tell you that you cannot just let it do its own thing. You have to watch it. You have to be plugged into it. The balance in our lives, and the people-pleasing thing is a big thing. Funny how we talked about AI that way too, but it's a big thing. It's a big thing, and it's setting the balance off for both parties involved. So I totally see that, and I didn't see it that way. As a people pleaser, you're doing an injustice to the person you're trying to please, and you're doing it for your own reasons to satisfy you, not them. Never looked at it that way. Balance. What are the other areas that we need to focus on?
So obviously in my woo-woo world, which isn't really, it's grounded in physics, look up quantum physics, there's a huge amount of balance between the consciousness and the material. Where are my thoughts, my feelings, my direction, my action, and how am I integrating into this reality? There's the balance of I need my alone time to center, but it's also helpful for me to interact with people because they reflect and they build my reality. I found that the more I get out and engage in the world, the more the world gives back to me. It's not going to do it while I'm hiding in a hole. So there's that balance of inside outside. There's that, we obviously have time balance, and a lot of times we're going to pick the easy route, sit in front of the TV and veg out. I'm not saying that's bad, but it becomes too easy. We're overstimulated because we have so many dopamine hits that require no effort. So there's that balance of the healthy degree of pushing myself to do something. There's that discernment, which is a form of discernment is so high level. So if I'm engaging in a task, let's go with wing foil. And I'm engaging in the task and it's difficult. Is it difficult because it's not my path? Or is it difficult because that's a mountain I'm supposed to climb? And being able to tell the red flag flashing light go away versus the I'm at the gym working out challenge. That type of balance, being able to feel that in our cells and in our body is incredible.
How do you harness the power of that? How do you feel that?
Pay attention. When it happens, learn what it feels like when it's one way. Learn what it feels like when it's the other way. So I have to reflectively go back. Like one time I picked up this rug. My uncle was getting rid of a rug and I was going to move it to my house. I got like a Home Depot truck, everything that could have gone wrong. This was uphill push the whole way. And it ended up by folding it. I couldn't even use it. It got rained on in the transit. Like it was not supposed to happen. So that was a lesson for me to calibrate what it feels like when I'm being told, blinking neon signs, stop, wrong direction, wrong way. Sometimes something that's a good challenge may have little drips of positive feedback along the way, those small victories.
Paying attention. We don't even, or seeing the signs and the synchronicity that's around us. It's kind of magical when you do that, isn't it?
It really is. And we've been programmed backwards. We've been programmed, just try harder. But it's not. Pay more attention, man. Feel where your heart is pulling you and pay attention. If it's like, you know what? That's not supposed to happen that way. We'll get all the signs. We just have to decide to be willing to change. And the pivot is where the pivot is high level. Being able to shift, being able to pull out and being able to change is very high level because that's growth.
This may be a fundamental question, but when you're feeling the pull, when you see the signs and you kind of know what you should be doing deep inside, but you don't. You go the other way. You put it off to the side. I don't want to hear that in my brain. I don't want to deal with that right now. Why are we doing that?
Comfort. We will pick the familiar uncomfortable over the unfamiliar That's, think about people in abusive relationships. And I'm not saying finances, you can't leave, whatever. People that end up in abusive relationships and stay in them because it's a known entity. The unknown is even scarier. So we stay with what we know. As we deepen our trust and faith in ourselves and in the world, our creator, whatever you want to say, then we begin to lean into the mystery, the unknown, and allow that abundance in whatever form to start coming in. But it's a fear thing. We stay in the pattern of what we know, even if it's hurting us.
It's so true. When you start really thinking about it, we all know what we should be doing. I truly believe it. It's there. Sometimes you need to go within, have better balance so you can see it and hear it. I think that's step one. Step two is taking action. And even though you may have completed step one and you're feeling it and you have pretty good idea of what you should be doing, or you have a feeling about something, step two is taking the right action. Many of us don't get to step two. Guilty as charged.
We are a collection of habits. 99% of what any of us is doing is running a script. It's the awareness that's pulling us into where our truth is. That's going, and then we start reprogramming the habits, starting small, and it snowballs. And it becomes, that growth actually becomes a new process. That becomes our new balance.
And there's many ways to reprogram. Hypnotherapy, you offer, that would be one of them, right?
Yeah. Acupuncture, I'm helping the body to reprogram. But the most important thing is just pay attention. Be like, wow, am I on autopilot? Like, I think I mentioned it, that movie Click, not a great movie, but it really highlights in stark relief what happens. We go on autopilot and just take ourselves to the grave without paying attention, running patterns.
How do we connect with you? I know you have two different situations. If it's acupuncture in Scarsdale, New York, that's a physical situation. Outside of that, all of this can be done virtually anywhere on the planet. What's the best way?
ScarsdaleHealth.com and level3coaching.org, spelled out.
Great talking with you today, as always. Lots of things to think about in terms of the balance. You need it. It's not easy to achieve for most of us because of the habits and the fear and the comfort.
And Steve, we're balancing multiple gyroscopes. You think about the three main energy centers. Those are three gyroscopes that are running in their own ways that we're balancing in relation to each other. Mind, body, spirit.
And if we go even deeper, would it be the seven chakras? I picture them spinning in their energy centers and sources as well. And if 1, 3 are out of whack, you're not going to be living your best life, I would imagine.
Oh, we have to have a conversation about chakras next time. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And now we have our direction. Always great talking with you, and we'll talk soon, okay?
All right. Thanks, Steve.
Appreciate it. Be right back. Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
This is you over 30 years ago.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
And this is your mom when you drive her back from therapy.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
Roles change without us noticing, and in your new role, we help you help. AARP gives you the information to help care for your mom so that you can have patience with her, just like she did with you. Visit aarp.org/caregiving or call 1-877-333-5885 to get practical health and wellness tips to provide even better care for your loved one.
Are we there yet?
Remember, visit aarp.org/caregiving. AARP, we help you help. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.